And these are the tips which you can follow to have the basic etiquette which an army wife follows, and you can look as graceful and amazing as they look. Back to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to talk about all the basic etiquettes and grace which an army wife follows, or the defense officer's wife follow, and which the regular women out there just like you can follow as well. I'm Abhinya Menon, a certified image consultant, makeup artist, and a personal stylist. So let me give you a brief history of my journey being in defense. So our parents are from the forces, and I was an army kid, and I got married to an army officer. So my journey in the forces goes way back in time, born and brought up in camps, and then again getting married to someone who is from the fraternity. So more or less, I have little bit knowledge to share with you guys, that how we as a lady wife conduct ourselves as an officer's wife. And those are some things which you can also incorporate in your life to come out as a very graceful, elegant woman, which people will definitely remember. So mostly these are kind of a very subjective things to follow in life. अगर आपको अच्छा लग रहा है तो please follow, नहीं अच्छा लग रहा तो let it go. But because these are the basic nature of how we conduct ourselves, so maybe इसमें से आपको थोड़ा बहुत लगेगा कि ये मैं अपने daily life में implement करूँ तो I might start looking little better or behaving little better. So with whatever limited knowledge I have, want to put it forward for you guys and all the lovely girls out there, and it will be beneficial for those women also who would like to later on get married to an army officer or an Air Force officer or a naval officer, whichever fancies you. But one thing I want to put forward again in this thing is, whichever way we live in army is very much different in other forces, that is Navy and Air Force. So army being the oldest fraternity, we have things which is carried forward from the Victorian age, जो बहुत पुराने भी हैं, but still it is getting continued. But I don't have any issues with that, because being an old school person, I like it that way. Like, I like the way it has been conducted. I like the way things are conducted in the fraternity. So yes, let's get started with the video. Point number one, to look as graceful, as amazing, is your posture. This is irrespective to the fact where you belong to, be it in the defense fraternity or you are somewhere outside, your posture matters a lot. So if you are too stiff, that is also not nice, and if you're too casual, that is also not nice. So which is the best way to conduct yourself when you're trying to talk to somebody or when you are in a conversation with anybody out there? So the best way would be to keep your weight in the back foot and your front leg is casually seated or placed on the ground. And आपके हाथ कहाँ जाएंगे? This is one of the most asked questions, कि where do these hands go? So if you're holding a drink, then definitely you're holding the glass, and you can keep the other hand holding your clutch, or you can keep the other hand just below the glass. So this is one of the best postures to have when you are having a conversation. If your hands are empty, if you're not engaged anywhere, keep your hands together, just like you're holding the first finger of your hand. So this would be like the best posture to stand whenever you're having a conversation. Number two, which every army wife follows, and that can be easily applicable in your civil life as well, is to follow the dress code. So in army, every occasion calls for a dress code, and we follow it very seriously. So whenever somebody is inviting you for a party, be it in a formal way or an informal way, always step forward to ask for the dress code. Rather than looking like someone who don't know anything, make sure that you know where you're going to and what is the dress code they're asking for. And going as per the dress code shows your personality as a very responsible person who understands the basic etiquettes of being a good guest. Point number three, greetings and communication. So whenever you're meeting for the first time, we always start with a good evening or a beautiful hello to somebody. And I'm sure you do the same when it comes to your people and your fraternity. But what comes next holds a very important aspect in your communication. Are you literally going and telling someone, oh, you lost so much weight, oh, you look like blah blah blah? So an effective communication comes forward when you actually ask someone, how are you doing? It's been so long since we met, and how is life? How is your career going on? These are the beautiful phrases you can add on when you're meeting someone after a long time. So always try to incorporate their life rather than pinpointing their physical attributes in a communication form. Next point for you guys to understand is hold your alcohol. So everyone has their own capacity with alcohol, and I know everyone out there drinks. So it's okay to be happy high or to go to a level when you are being nice to people. But one should know the limit and not create a circus of their own, because you are representing yourself and your spouse if he or she is coming along with you. So always try to understand that holding the alcohol to the best level is the best thing you can do to yourself. And it is something which will definitely make you a very graceful lady rather than being a little trashy and uninvitable for the next time. Or maybe people can invite you for the fun sake. So just try to be nice and just try to be very graceful whenever you are being invited as a guest. The next beautiful etiquette tip for every woman out there is the teacup etiquette. So I have seen this many times. Women just forget the basic etiquettes of tea. That is, when you're offering the tea, the holder should be towards the guest, so they can easily pick up the tea rather than feeling the hotter side, or they are holding the saucer, they're holding the teacup and taking it forward to them. So this is the first thing. And the second most important thing with respect to the same teacup etiquette is to don't slur while having tea. So wait for the tea to cool down so that it is easily moving around your lips rather than slurring and enjoying the hot tea. Like everyone says कि हमें गरम चाय पीनी बहुत पसंद है. I understand the urge of drinking, slurring and enjoying the tea, but जब आप किसी के घर जाते हैं, when you are going to a mess party, when you're going to someone's house, make sure that you're not slurring. That is how important it is. So next very important etiquette, that is an army wife's etiquette for a regular woman, would be to chew very slow. So when you're sitting on the dining table and everybody is sitting with you, you need to understand that fact that you have to be in sync with their intake of the food, if I may put it in a simpler word. So जब आप खाना खा रहे होते हैं, you don't have to gobble up everything on your plate. Wait for the second servings or the third servings. There is nothing wrong in taking servings rather than just filling up your plate with every food possible. So that actually adds up to your grace points. And make sure that you're interacting with the guest rather than just focusing on eating food. For example, अगर आपके सामने कोई बैठा है या आपके साइड में कोई बैठा है, please indulge in a lovely conversation rather than just digging into your food. That actually shows a very antisocial behavior, if I may say so. So these are the basic things which I would love you to follow in your daily life. Next point, which is a very important way to create the best first impression of yourself whenever you are meeting people, and this is something we do as an army wife most often because we have to communicate a lot when we are meeting people, and generally we are meeting people for the first time. This is called the art of small talk. So whenever you're meeting someone, you are completely quiet, and if you're not talking to anybody, that is perceived as arrogance, or that is perceived as not a very social human being, or someone who is keeping it to himself, which is obviously not a very good sign when you are there in a social gathering. When you have come out of your house, that means you are ready to attend a function, you're ready to attend a social gathering. So make your mind and be there, be present in that occasion. So whenever you're doing that, you are creating a harmony among people, and you're looking and showing the best version of yourself. To have a nice art of communication or art of small talk, you need to know something. So whenever you know there is a social gathering coming up, try to make a list of things you can talk about. For example, you can know some current events which is going around in and out of the world, and you can talk about that. You can talk about your personal interest, you can talk about the other person's interest, but staying quiet, not talking or indulging in a conversation at all is not considered good. So ये आप बाहर normal अपने time, मतलब when you are outside in the civil world meeting someone for the first date के लिए आप जा रहे हो या dating के लिए जा रहे हो, always remember, try to have small conversation. It should not be about body shaming, it should not be about somebody else, it should never be about a thing called gossip. It should be a very healthy conversation about likes and dislikes, your experiences in life, and what you feel about the current place you're in. So these are all a very great conversation starters, and you will be considered as a very graceful human being. Next etiquette point for every woman out there is to talk politely. This is something which is missing in today's era, where I find people being so frivolous and they're just talking out of nowhere without thinking or without calculating how it would sound to the other person. Because many a times what happens is we are writing stories in our mind, but जब उसमें हम vocals add करते हैं, जब हम उसमें voice add करते हैं, most of the time it doesn't come out the way you have planned in your mind. So always be mindful when you talk it out, when you are putting forward any thought to a third person. So this will definitely add up to an effective way of talking to a stranger or anybody new. So always be polite, always be kind when you're talking to anybody. The concept of observing and understanding the environment. So whenever we enter any occasion, the social gatherings or in any party, first you have to understand the environment of it. पहले आप उस चीज को समझो कि माहौल कैसा है, लोग कैसे हैं, and then behave accordingly. You don't have to show all your cards in one go, or not necessary कि the moment you enter any avenue, you have to be just on the top of your voice and you have to show exactly how you feel or how you are. So observing is the best thing you can do to make yourself accustomed to the environment and to understand people and make the best first impression for yourself. Remember that your first impression matters, so observe and then communicate. A very beautiful etiquette point for all the ladies out there: when you're entering a hall, always be confident. You should roll your back and walk straight to the venue rather than looking in all the directions and finding someone to give you company. So that is one of the best way to enter any place, and that shows how confident you are. So when you are entering a place, just walk straight, just look around if you know some acquaintances, and if you found some, just a small wave and go back to your place with your spouse, and later on you can go ahead, meet them and have a great communication. But never hurry to a room, never look haphazard or bewildered by seeing so many places. Keep your expressions very muted, keep yourself very graceful when you enter a venue, and that is going to fetch you many brownie points. Thing which I have noticed a lot among ladies out there, be it from the forces or be it from outside, that you are always holding the cups from the base of it and not from the stem of it. So any glass which has a stem is supposed to be held by the stem. They are considered as, or they are known as stem glasses. So you have to consider the stem part of it rather than holding like this. उसका stem नीचे रह जाता है, आप उसको ऐसे hold करते हो. It just looks fancy in movies, but in reality, this shows that you are not aware of how to hold them. So always hold it by the stem, not by the base. The only glass which has a stem and can be held by the base is the brandy glass, which is little oval and they have a small stem down there. So वो एक लौती glass होती है जिसको आप नीचे से पकड़ सकते हैं इस तरीके से, but rest all the glasses out there has to be held by the stem, and that looks ultimate level of sophistication, and that makes the other person think that you know your dining or cutlery rules or basic rules. In the end, the only thing I want to put forward through this particular video is that whenever you meet someone, the person should always go back with a beautiful memory of your presence, a beautiful memory of the conversation they had, rather than having a bitter taste of the person. So it is a very personal experience for me as well. मैं किसी से भी मिलूं for the first time, I want to carry forward a lovely interaction जो कि मैं घर आके अपने husband को या अपने parents को बोल सकूं, met somebody so and so, and that person is an amazing human being. I would love to go and have a word again with that person. So this is how a spark creates, and you should always leave that spark with anybody you meet, and that is a sign of a very healthy human being. You should never leave someone thinking or in an ambiguity that ye kya tha, or why that person behaved in this way, ya what was wrong with that person, why he that or she was talking like that. So this is the main reason why army wife etiquettes come in place, where people are always graceful, people are always nice to talk to, and you can take it forward in your civil life as well. But there is a disclaimer as well. I have met amazing civil people. Sometimes they turn out much better than the army crowd I meet. And this is very subjective. Like I said in the beginning of the video, that a person's personality differs from place to place, but the basic etiquettes can refine them to betterment, and you can be the best version of yourself. Like this video if it was helpful. Subscribe so that we create a family of elegant people. I'm Abhinya Menon, your personal stylist, image coach, and a certified makeup artist. You can follow me on Instagram to see my day-to-day life. And yes, that was all from my side. I'll see you again with another amazing content, maybe about a little bit how to look like a very confident woman in everyday life. Bye bye, take care, stay stylish and stay elegant.